Hello YouTube, this is my review of the HFC HA109 spring-powered airsoft pistol. It comes in this nice box here, you can see. It's got pictures of the gun on the front. On the side you've got a label of which gun, and I've got this one, the HA109. Also some others in the HFC range. Some warnings, just a label and a plain black bottom. Right, so open up the box and you'll see I've got my HA109 in pearl blue. It looks quite nice, I think. It's got a nice short barrel, but you also get with it a 14 to 15 round solid metal magazine, which is quite nice. I'll get into that later. Put the gun aside and you get this box of sample BBs. They're not very high quality. They've got seams and bits protruding out the BB, so I'd advise you get some high quality polished ones when you buy the gun. Okay, so this is the gun itself. As you can see, it's got a nice blue finish. It's a solid construction. The externals are all plastic: the slide, the lower receiver, the trigger, the hammer, the safety, the slide catch, and the takedown pin. They're all plastic, ABS plastic. On the other side you can see there's not much. It's not really a gun for left-handers. I mean, for right-handers it's brilliant, but left-handers you don't have any ambidextrous features, slide stay, safety or mag release. The other thing I wanted to mention about the gun is it has this tactical rail, so if you so wish you could buy yourself a flashlight or a laser pointer if you're into that sort of thing to it makes it look a lot cooler, I guess, and a bit of functionality as well. Now, the features of the gun itself. It has this mag release, which you press this button and the mag will eject. It's gravity controlled, so be prepared to catch it. You got this safety. It's quite a nice safety. This is on safe right now, so if I flick this up you'll hear the click of it disengage, and now you can pull the trigger and cock the slide back and fire. But if I turn the safety down, you hear with the click that it stops, and now I can't. The trigger pulls, but nothing happens. This is it's quite nice. It's got double action, so basically that means that when you pull the trigger back, it'll pull the hammer back and release the hammer. But on this, because it's a spring pistol, it's only for visual use really. It looks nice, it looks pretty cool, but nothing else really. Okay, so how to take down the gun. First, take out your magazine. Then you get this pin here. Get your finger under it. I've loosened it already because I find it a bit tricky. Twist it around and then just pull this pin out, and now your slide will come straight off the lower receiver of the gun. In here you can see that's the trigger. It doesn't really do anything. It's just really for looks. This is slide stay. This thing just pushes the slide up. This is all metal. This part of the gun. Now into the slide and the internals of the barrel. It's got a well, you can't really say it does have a plastic inner barrel, which is a little bit disappointing, but it's got a solid metal spring in there. And on the guide rod, this piece here, it's got another nice recoil spring, which gives it really nice springy action. The outer barrel is metal, which is quite nice to see here. I do like having a metal outer barrel. Metal internals are really more important than metal externals. Having a metal, trigger and a lower receiver is nice, but it really does count when you have the internals metal rather than the externals. And I mean, for the price you pay, this is far better than many alternatives. So put it back together now. You take this slide, you slit it onto these two little notches at the front. Alright, and then you slide it back on, like that, click it into place, okay? Take your pin, don't lose this, okay, it's very important. Put it back in, okay, it'll slot in, and put the smaller one in securely. And now your gun is absolutely fine, and you can use it. So slide stay on this gun, it means that when you have a magazine in, and you cock the gun back, and there are no BBs in the magazine, the slide will stay back. Like a real gun would if you were out of ammunition. And it's a really good feature. It looks pretty cool, and it also lets you know when you've run out of BBs. which is very valuable, especially if you're having a garden airsoft battle or whatnot. Also exposes the really nice outer barrel, which is metal, I think it's aluminium, and then the guide rod, which is also metal, which is a very nice touch. To release the slide, you just flick this switch here, flick it back, and the slide will shoot forward. The hammer's back, the spring is cocked inside, and you can fire it, but nothing comes out because I haven't got any BBs. Right, so now we'll move on to loading the gun with BBs. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to load the magazine with BBs, okay? Here are your 6mm standard airsoft ammunition. These ones I have here, in fact, are not as they are on the front. I just filled it into this pouring bottle. These are 0.2 gram bio BBs. They're very nice, polished quality, and you know, bios are great when you're shooting outdoors because they're in the rain, and with the natural moisture of the ground, they will automatically like disintegrate. And in the end, what they turn into is almost like plant food. So I mean, when you shoot it, it's almost good for your garden. Yeah, so I like bios for outdoors. Indoors, I use standard BBs because I find that bios on my sticky airsoft target don't stick. They just ping off, and I find that a bit disappointing. Gun shoots at 220 FPS with industry, you know, standard 0.12s, and they like using 0.12s because it gives you a higher FPS. When you use a 0.2 gram BB, 0.20 gram, it will lower your FPS, but because of the heavier BB, it will also be straighter in flight, and that means for a more accurate shot. But 0.12s, you know, they're good, they're cool, but this is pretty high quality gun even for a spring, so I would say that use 0.2 gram BBs if you want to test yourself out. If you want to be, you know, cross garden shooting, like I'm talking 20-30 meters, maybe even 40, then use 0.12s. But if you want the accuracy at about 15-20 meter range, I'd advise using 0.2 gram BBs. So now I'm going to show you how to load this magazine. Now, as I said, it's metal, it's a very high quality finish. I mean, it's not going to break. I would advise not dropping it since it is still quite delicate. It fits some BBs, double stacked, I think about 14 to 15. At the bottom you've got a removable base plate. If you pull this back like that, it reveals the spring. But I would advise not doing that with any BBs in the gun because it could, you know, drop the whole BB thing through it, and that would be really bad news. So hold the spring down and just push the base plate over, and there's your spring. So if you get, I would advise getting a pourer or a speed loader, and a speed loader is like, it looks a bit like a pistol magazine, but instead you fill it with BBs through a pourer or from a bag, and you press the trigger down and it loads like three or four BBs at a time, and that's really good for in the middle of a battle. But I use a pourer really because, I mean, it came with my first bottle of BBs, and it's pretty efficient. I mean, I'll show you a quick way to load the BBs into this. So you take the cap off, take this, right, so you can load them one by one, either here, which I wouldn't really advise because it can break the edges around this and cause your gun to misfeed and misfire, or here. I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, I think you can see it now. There's a little like notch in here, yeah, where you can see it's slightly wider, and if you hold the slide down like this, hold it below this thing, tilt the mag down a little bit, tilt it down, put the bottle of BBs here, and just pour them in, just into that gap, and you'll see that now we have some BBs double stacked, which means they go slightly to the side, so from left to right, and that means you fit more in, and it also feeds a bit better. I would advise making sure they are correctly double stacked, or it can cause your gun to misfeed, misfire and break. So, you know, it's always best to make sure they're double stacked correctly, otherwise your gun might not work properly, and it might cause your gun to jam up and potentially break if you don't do the right things with it. So yeah, treat it with care, because, you know, these are replica guns. They're not obviously the highest quality. These are only £25 the gun, from bbgunsuk.co.uk. It's a very nice site. I do like that a lot. They gave me really good advice with the gun, how to lubricate it, and in the next part I'll be showing you how to lubricate the gun. Although I don't have any silicone oil on me, I will explain where and how much you should use, and that's why, what its benefits are to keep your gun working longer. Okay then, so in this part I'm going to show you how to lubricate your gun properly, where to lubricate it, the advantages, disadvantages, although I don't think there are many, and how much you should use, really. So, in the gun there are moving parts which slide over each other. For example, the slide, here you can see this is very prone to wear and tear, and you want that to be working as smoothly as possible, because if it doesn't, I mean, you can have some major problems. And also in here where the BBs feed, metal parts, the trigger mechanism, you see these parts that move inside the gun as you pull the trigger. You want them all to be working nice and smoothly in coordination, and make sure that that you don't get a jam or a misfire. So, if you get some silicone oil when you purchase the gun, most BB gun retailers, airsoft gun retailers do stock silicone oil. They're only like £2 or £3 for a few hundred milliliters, so I would really recommend getting some. I didn't get some because I'm a bit of an idiot and I kind of forgot, but on my next purchase I definitely will be getting some silicone oil. So you want to take your silicone oil bottles and oil, just squirt a little bit onto the slides, the sides of the lower receiver, the inside here, this metal part with the trigger mechanism. On here, a little bit, just a little bit, because you don't want that to be, sticking. The slide stay, you want that to be done nicely, so that you don't get the slide doesn't stay cocked back when there is actually a BB in the gun, which has happened to me a few times. And then, even more importantly, on the top of the gun, I recommend you take the guide rod out and the outer barrel, and just pull it out a little bit, and then put some silicone oil inside there where the outer barrel meets the inner barrel. I'm not sure if you can see that too well, the light isn't great right now, crappy London weather and all that, but then you pull this back and there you go. And I would also recommend oiling this part and the inside spring where they rub with the lower receiver, like here, 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 here and here, because when you cock that gun back, if you get friction and the gun starts jamming up in there, that could cause BBs to misfire, and could potentially explode your gun. But I mean, that doesn't happen. I mean, this is a really good product from HFC. It's modelled on the Sig Sauer P228, which is a slightly older model. Now it's not in use by the French army or police, but the French police use Sig Sauer P226s, and the army used to use P228s, but I don't know what they use now, but definitely a few years ago they used to use these. This is the model of the P228. So I do like it a lot. It's got a lot of history, and it's probably for Sig Sauer fans, it's a really good purchase. I would really recommend it. The grip is nice and grippy. I mean, if you do get a bit sweaty, it can be a trouble. But for smaller hands, also, it's a bit hard because you've got a bit of a trigger reach. I've got quite big hands, and it's very comfortable fit. And also, this notch in the back really does let you sit the part between your thumb and index finger really nicely in there. And you also have some nice grooves on the slide. I mean, here it's got really good grippy parts. It means you can pull the slide back quite nicely. Okay, so overall now, I would really recommend this HFC HA109 to anyone. To my knowledge, the only place to get it in pearl blue, this really nice colour here, is bbgunsuk.co.uk, and I'll put a link in the description and an annotation in this video. Really good site, great prices, great advice, good accessories and stuff, and they give you some free stuff. Right now I think they're giving you 100 free 0.12 gram BBs, and they are high quality BBs. They are 0.12s, but that's pretty adequate for if you're going to be using it for some gentle target practice. I would recommend it. To be honest, most of that HFC Spring Airsoft line at bbgunsuk.co.uk is really good quality. So thanks for watching this video. Please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Rate the video, that'd be really nice. And yeah, I hope you guys can have learned a bit more about this gun, and whether you want to buy it or not, I hope to see you soon. Bye.